Welcome to Easy Math TV. We're going to do a kind of a marathon round here of solving some problems that involve simple interest. We're still in the time value of money, and these are going to be word problems that we're going to be solving. So we're going to be using Excel as a calculator, and there are various scenarios. So you can actually see that there's going to be lots of different combinations of information that we are given. So like in the yellow on the left, A, B, and C columns, that's going to be the information that we are given in the problem. And then in columns D and E, those are the things that we can then solve for, okay? So given those different scenarios, you need to use different formulas. So that's why we need to have a separate calculator for each of those things. So when you're reading the word problem, there's going to be probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 videos on this topic. So I don't know the exact number at this point because it comes down to how much time it takes. But whenever you're reading a word problem that involves interest, principal, future value, all those things, it's important to read the problem several times to yourself. Um, and then underneath the problem, before you even do anything, before you just rush into just throwing it into a calculator, um, list make a list of of different pieces of information. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is write down what are we solving for, and that might be more than one thing, because sometimes questions have more than one part to it. So make sure that you list or write down the thing that you are solving for, and give it a name, and actually use the letter that we use for it as well. And then underneath that, make a list of the things that you are given in the problem. So like, what numbers do you have to start with? That could be principal, rate, and time. And if that's the case, then you would list it as P, comma, R, comma, T, okay, as an example. And the 2 basic facts we're going to be making use of are in any simple interest situation, interest equals principal times rate times time. And that formula can get reworded or rearranged depending on which variable you're solving for. So you're going to see the formulas in Excel change a lot because of different things that we're solving for. And then the second fact is you can always rely on the fact that the accumulated value is equal to principal plus interest, which means that if you are solving for principal and you know the accumulated value and the interest, you can just subtract. So principal is going to be accumulated value minus interest, things like that. So those are things that you can count on as well. All right. So just having this little reminder square of like where we're living in right now, like what is the space that we're living in, and what are the values that we can see, like what are the players, like what are the things that are going to come up in any situation. So context matters basically. Like, if knowing that we're dealing with simple interest means that you can rely on these being the quantities that we're dealing with, and we can just read the question as it's given and then just solve it. Okay. So this being our first video, I spent a lot of time just explaining the context, so we may just have time to do one problem. The first question says, how much interest is earned in an account that earns 4.5% simple interest? That's our rate, by the way, after 3 years if $200 is deposited in the account. So the first thing I want you to notice is that the word rate does not show up there, but it does say, the first part of the question says how much interest. So right away, we know that we are solving for I. So I is going in column D because that's the thing we're solving for. And then the interest rate is your 4.5%, and it is a simple interest rate. And time is 3 years. And then when it says $200 is deposited, the word deposited is our clue. That means that that is the principal. So when you know what the deposit amount is, or in a loan situation, it would be the amount that's borrowed. The deposit amount or the borrowed amount is the capital P. So I've set up my spreadsheet over here on the left with little r, little t, and capital P are the quantities that we are given. And so the things that we can solve for are interest and also the future value, the accumulated value. So we could actually solve for either of those. The other thing I want you to notice is that Excel or any spreadsheet will allow you to enter a number in the form of a percent without having to convert in your head or try to figure out how to convert from a percent to a decimal. And you literally just type the number in as it's given in the problem. So I literally just typed in 4.5 and then I used the percent key and hit enter. And Excel immediately formatted that cell as a percentage. Under all of our different number formats, there is a number format for percentage. So the minute that you type in the percent symbol next to a number, Excel will read that as a percentage. Time is 3 years, so that's pretty clear from the problem. And capital P, remember, that's our amount deposited. So capital P is 200. Okay, so to calculate interest using the interest formula is just literally equal to principal times rate times time. So you can multiply them in any order you want. I just went in order of column. So equals A4 times B4 times C4. So that's basically just the order that they appeared in the spreadsheet. It doesn't matter. You can multiply in any order you want. So principal times rate times time turns out to be $27. The future value, I just typed that in here just in case we have another question that involves the amount that's in the account. If we wanted to know what the amount is in the account or the account balance, we would do that under the capital A, and that would be equals C4 plus D4, because principal plus interest is our accumulated value. So in 3 years at 4.5% simple interest, we would have $227 in the account when we started out at 200. So I answered that question over here, and there's my 27. So I'll see you in the next video.